It was the kind of night that clings to your skin, dry, bitter, and impossibly still. In the heart of the Siberian wilderness, under a canopy of stars that had watched over the earth for eons, a team of paleontologists moved cautiously across the frozen ground. Their breath came in plumes of white mist, their lights flickered against ice walls formed in the Pleistocene. Somewhere beneath their boots, time was coiled tightly, waiting to be unraveled. It had started with a glint, just a glint. A sliver of something buried in the permafrost, caught in the beam of a headlamp. Not stone, not ice. Something else. The team halted. Knees dropped. Hands dug. And then, like peeling back the skin of a mystery long buried, the earth surrendered its secret. A paw. Massive. Furred. Perfectly preserved. But not fossilized. No, this was fresh. Too fresh. They unearthed more, legs like pillars, muscles still taut under golden fur, claws retracted, as if the beast had merely curled up to sleep and forgotten to wake. The head followed, jaw agape, and there it was, the unmistakable, iconic arc of two serrated canines, nearly a foot long each, gleaming like daggers forged in another world. A saber-toothed cat. Not a replica. Not a reconstruction. This was real. Intact. Flesh, fur, and fury, frozen in time. The year was 2025. The creature had not walked the earth for 37,000 years. The news broke like thunder across the scientific world. Teams scrambled. Specialists flew in. Carbon dating confirmed the impossible. Not only was the specimen whole, it had no decomposition markers. No signs of death by ice, starvation, or trauma. Its cells were alive. Dormant, yes. But alive. Then came the scans. 3:42 a.m. The lab lights dimmed as magnetic resonance imaging painted a picture that no one dared believe. The brain was intact. Synapses preserved. Heart tissue supple. Mitochondrial activity faint, but present. They ran the tests again. And again. And again. And then it blinked. At first, the team thought it was a trick of the light. Someone whispered it, a nervous laugh in the dark. But then the head moved. A twitch. An electric pulse that rippled down the spine. Muscle memory fired. The cat, against all logic, was awakening. Months passed in a whirlwind of containment protocols and ethical debates. Security was tripled. The Russian government cordoned off the site. The Americans offered a black budget facility in Montana. And through it all, the beast, named Naraka, Sanskrit for abyss, was kept in a biodome simulation chamber, monitored constantly. It grew stronger. It breathed deeper. Its heartbeat steadied. And then came the first roar. It wasn't a roar of hunger. Or fear. It was defiance. Raw, primordial defiance. The sound of 37,000 years uncoiling in a single exhale. Cameras caught it. The world watched in silence. What had we done? The DNA samples told their own story. Naraka was not just a smilodon. It was a subspecies previously unknown. One adapted for deep hibernation, perhaps triggered by volcanic ash winters or magnetic shifts. Scientists speculated this lineage may have evolved to switch off during climatic catastrophes. A built-in biological pause button. Naraka had outlived its epoch. And it had awoken in a world of glass, metal, and neon. Ethologists began behavioral trials. But Naraka wasn't responding like any known predator. There was an intelligence behind those amber eyes. A watchfulness. It tracked people. Followed patterns. Ignored food when it wasn't hungry, paced its enclosure as if studying the weakness of the walls. One night, the surveillance feed showed it staring directly into the camera for 6 hours straight. Not blinking. Just watching. Then the feed cut. When it returned, Naraka was gone. No broken glass. No forced entry. No trace. Just silence. The biodome was 4 meters tall. The doors had triple locks. The internal airlocks were intact. Every contingency had been covered. Except for the one they didn't believe in. Somewhere, deep in the data logs, hidden in a sea of redundant alerts, a single timestamp was buried, 2:11 a.m. Heart rate spike. Cortisol levels off the charts. And then, a flatline. But not death. Stillness. Every function ceased. As if, hibernating again. Disappearing, not in space, but in time. Theories spiraled. Quantum anomalies. Cryo-induced temporal stasis. Some called it pseudoscience. Others whispered one word behind closed doors, precursor. Was Naraka not the last of its kind, but the first of something else? The sightings began weeks later. Alaska. A series of caribou corpses, mauled in a manner unseen since the Ice Age. Greenland. A research station abandoned, doors ripped from hinges, claw marks gouged into steel. No bodies. Just blood, and fur samples that matched 99.8% to Naraka's genome. And then, a grainy image from a forest camera trap in Alberta. Amber eyes. A flick of a saber. It was watching again. But this time, from the shadows. The governments went quiet. The footage was scrubbed. Whistleblowers vanished. What had been a scientific miracle had become a myth in the making. A modern chimera, stitched from bone and frost and silence. The question was no longer how it survived. It was why. And if one had awakened, how many more still slept?